What's going on, Notre Dame fans? We are live on the Blue and Gold YouTube channel, a couple days out from Notre Dame's Orange Bowl matchup with the Penn State Nittany Lions. Also is the semifinals of the college football playoff. Tons to talk about. I said last night that Tim High would be with us tonight for this show. Tim is out. He's taking care of some family stuff. A couple of his girls are sick, so Tim is dealing with his family, and we will see Tim in our post-game show late Thursday night. I got these two goobers joining me, Tyler Horka and Jack Sobel down in Fort Lauderdale on the same screen. The boys are in the room together. How we doing, boys?
We're good, man. We're in Miami for the Orange Bowl. It doesn't get much better than that this time of year, so we'll take it.
Yeah, we got an elite media gift.
Which was?
Sure.
Yeah.
Ooh.
I can go show it. Yeah.
1 second.
Yes.
Amazing Orange Bowl backpack. This, I believe, is Tyler's because it's empty.
Yep.
Mine is already my primary backpack. I just put my old backpack in there.
So now we have.
Did you pick me up one?
Huh?
Am I able to get one? I'll be down there.
Yeah, you can get one in a couple days.
Well, now we got the Sugar Bowl crew neck pullover
yeah.
to wear with the Orange Bowl backpack. We get new lanyards for every single bowl. We're outfitted. Notre Dame is outfitting us basically.
We're doing quite well.
Yeah.
I've always thought it was interesting when the bowl games, like, they really do deck you out. It's like, I don't know why they treat the media so well. Like, they do the dinners, and I remember the Georgia Notre Dame game 2019 in Athens. Like, the spread was incredible. But they do.
I think they want us to say nice things about them, and for any bowl who is listening, it works.
Well, here's the thing: they want you to cover their bowl, but we're here to cover Notre Dame. So, like, we love the Orange Bowl. Thank you for everything that you do. But this week, from here on out, from this show until 48 hours from now, when that thing kicks off, we're covering Notre Dame. We're not. It doesn't feel like we're covering the Orange Bowl. We're covering Notre Dame football.
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
Yeah. So 7:30 p.m. Eastern time, game on the ESPN family of networks. We have a ton of different things to talk about with the guys who got to talk to the coordinators and a few players. We'll get to that later in the show. But first, I want to hear from you guys. And I've been asking this to Leonard last night. I did a video with Greg Pickle over at Blue White Illustrated, our Penn State sister website at On3, asking on this question, where does Penn State – well, actually, we'll start with Notre Dame. Where does Notre Dame match up best against Penn State? And then we'll do the other side of the vice versa of it. Where do you think Notre Dame has a leg up in a specific matchup against Penn State?
I actually like the way Notre Dame matches up with Penn State's passing game, and I know Penn State has Tyler Warren. He's going to get his, don't get me wrong. He'll probably end up with 7 catches for 90 yards or something like that. But as long as they're an empty 90 yards, he's not killing them with 2 or 3 touchdowns, I think Notre Dame can live with that, because I think they have the personnel. They have physical safeties, first of all. They have good, fast linebackers. They're just really strong in the middle of the field. Al Golden is typically really good at taking away an opponent's best option. So I like the way they have that going for it. Their wide receivers are not their strength, which is good against Notre Dame, which is good for Notre Dame. And Drew Aller, while he's playing some really good football right now, he can make mistakes when you get to him and rattle him. So I think that all matches up pretty well with what Notre Dame does well.
Yeah, it's the same thing for me, and it's not necessarily that Penn State's got some poor passing attacks. Notre Dame has one of the best passing defenses in college football. We've seen that the last couple of years. So I don't think, and I said this going back to, was it Louisville who had the transfer wide receivers? One of them from South Alabama, or from Alabama?
What was Louisville, South Alabama. Well, yes, both. Colin Lacey in the slot and Ja'Cory Brooks on the outside.
Ja'Cory Brooks.
Yeah.
It's every time Notre Dame goes up against a team like that, and I get it, he caught a touchdown in that game, but it was a field position thing. Notre Dame just doesn't let the guy that you think is going to go off and get all the headlines. That guy doesn't have the headlines at the end of the game. It's always Notre Dame defense stops this player and this team and wins the game. So, but I do like a comment that Tom Frawley brought up. I think Notre Dame might be able to run the football a little bit, even without Jeremiah Love, because it's one of those deals where, oh no, Jeremiah Love's out. All these Penn State fans are talking. They're not going to be able to do what they do and run the football. You still have Riley Leonard. You still have Jadarian Price. I think if you give Aeneas Williams more carries, that dude's a beast. He's averaging 5-6 yards per carry.
Love is playing, just might be limited, just to clarify.
Oh, yeah, not out.
Yeah.
And Jack got me with the same thing in the media workroom earlier. He's like, with Love out, no, Love is not out. Love is you saw him. We've probably talked about it on this YouTube channel. I know we have. I don't think he's going to be the same guy, though. Let's just say that. But even if that's the case, I think Jadarian Price is going to have a great game. Aeneas Williams, Riley Leonard. So those are the two things. Like if you want to go both sides of the ball, I like Notre Dame's chances in those two areas.
Adding on to the run game comment real quick, I like the way Notre Dame's interior offensive line matches up with Penn State's interior defensive line. They're good. Like they can get by you. They're movable. Is how I would describe the defensive tackles. Like they're not that big. And like Penn State also, like we mentioned Jeremiah Love's injury. Penn State has a huge one of their own in Abdul Carter.
Yeah.
And he like we'll talk about his ability as a pass rush in a sec when we get to Penn State's strengths over Notre Dame. But he is a phenomenal run defender too. Like he's not the biggest D end. I think he's like 6'3", between 250 and 260, depending on the day. But like he is unbelievable at getting off blocks and making stops in the run game.
He's got 22 tackles. I know he has the 11 sacks. Everyone, when you think DN, you think sacks. He's got 22 tackles for loss. Yeah. So he's not just tackling quarterbacks behind the line of scrimmage. He's tackling everybody behind.
I really like Jack's point from earlier about like Golden. He excels at taking away your best option. Like growing up a Dolphins fan, right, and playing against the Patriots all the time is like you hear that all like Bill Belichick. His defense are going to take away your best option on offense. So I was thinking about that when you were giving that point, Jack. So yeah, if there's someone you trust the most in this football game, to me, it's Al Golden. It is Al Golden to cook something up and to get his guys ready. Before we move over to Penn State, where they might match up best against Notre Dame, do you guys feel like if Notre Dame, like, okay, so you had Notre Dame, Texas A&M, then the Notre Dame Georgia game felt like Notre Dame Texas A&M 2.0, in my opinion, right? Do you guys think this is 3.0? Do you see this game going similarly to the A&M and Georgia games, which I think we would all agree were Notre Dame's two biggest tests this year?
I think it really could be. I think my concern from the Notre Dame defense perspective is the run game, because Penn State's got a good offensive line, probably better than they faced against Georgia. And like talked to Don Schuler about this earlier this week. If Nick Singleton and Kaytron Allen can get into the open field, they're really dangerous. If you can bottle them up around the line of scrimmage, they can be stopped. So I think if Notre Dame can do that and just, again, play ball control, know your identity, know who you are on offense, like this could look a lot like the A&M and Georgia games, I think.
Ty?
Yeah, I mean, Penn State people that I read and talk to, they all say the same thing. Penn State likes to win football games on the ground. Notre Dame, if there's a weakness in their defense, it's going at them on the ground. So that's where I kind of look at those two guys that Jack mentioned. And like, look at the Boise State. I don't know, Boise State was probably nowhere near Notre Dame up front, but Penn State just went right at Boise State and said, you're not going to stop these two guys. And guess what? They didn't. I think they ran 29 times for 150 yards or something. It was game over because of those two guys. If that's and I think that's what Penn State's going to try to do to Notre Dame too. It's like, it's what's gotten them here. And you listen to, all the Notre Dame players and coaches, they're like, yeah, these guys are going to try to beat us up front. So getting back to your original question, yeah, it does feel a lot like last week, because that's the same conversations that we were having going into that Georgia game. Was SEC champion, big guys. How many times did Howard Cross in his interviews say, yeah, they're big. Yeah, they're big. That they're going to try to run right at Notre Dame. I have no doubt about that.
I do think, real quick, it is important to know that Penn State's offense is better than Georgia in a lot of meaningful ways.
Yeah.
The quarterback, obviously a better top weapon in Warren. The running backs are better. The offensive line is better. So it's a more difficult challenge for the Notre Dame defense, but I think they're up to it. If they can, rattling Aller rattling Aller and containing Warren is the big keys. I think they can contain Warren. If they rattle Aller and get to him, I don't think Penn State can pass that much. Then the question becomes, can you stop the run?
So you guys saying that Penn State's biggest advantage on Notre Dame is you think they're going to be able to run the football? That's what you guys are agreeing on?
That's I wouldn't say so the advantage is on the other side of the ball. We can talk about that in a sec, but that's what I'm most concerned from a Notre Dame defense standpoint.
Georgia ran for 62 sack adjusted rushing yards, right? Or no, you judge for sacks with 100, including so 62 including sacks. So this, but you make a good point. Pressuring Aller, a big point for me in that ball game against Georgia was pressuring Stockton. Like the 4 sacks were huge, but even with them, 100 yards. It was 102 yards or something like that. I would take Penn State to go over that sack adjusted.
I don't know. Total yards don't matter. It's
rushing yards though, just the rushing yards.
It's such a game flow thing.
Jack's all about these stats that do and don't matter. I have to hear it all the time.
I will say, like, Georgia did go for, I think, about 5 per carry adjusted for sacks.
4 exactly.
4 exactly. And they ripped off like a 28-yarder. So like they weren't terrible running the ball, but they certainly weren't great. But again, Penn State's better at that than Georgia.
All right, good thing there's a way to just look this up real quick. I'm pulling up the stats right now. So for Notre Dame and Georgia,
I laughed at Mark with glasses' comment.
Sack adjusted rushing yards 101.
About Jeremiah Love right now.
Oh.
Jeremiah Love on track to play in CFP semifinal versus Penn State. I don't know who that's coming from, but it's coming from ESPN.
Well, that we knew because he's not in the injury report.
That's nothing. That's nothing new. But yeah, 62 rushing yards, and then when you take out the sacks, 101 for exactly 4 per carry. Good job, guys.
You did have that right.
Uncle Mike said, in my opinion, sit Love and pray he can make the final.
This is the incorrect.
Yeah, I respect what you're saying, but like that is very much a 1 + 2 = 3. Sit Love, make him better for a final. It's like it's not really how the world works. Like, good luck trying to say, hey, Jeremiah Love,
the same guy
play. Like, come on, it's not gonna happen. Like, it's just not gonna happen. And you play him if he can play. You play him. Like, it's just as simple as that. If he can't play, then don't play him. Like, it's one or the other. If he can play and you sit him just to get him healthier for the College Football Playoff game, then you might be sitting your ass on your couch watching the game on the 20th rather than being there.
Well, I'm curious to see how much he can actually give, though. Like, is it 5 to 10 carries, and then
that's most games this season. Like, anyways, like it's around 10.
More like 10, 15. I think he averages like 11 or 12.
Yeah, but
there have been some 5 to 10.
My point stands. They don't run him as much as they should. But anyways, go ahead, Ty.
No, that's really. I'm just genuinely curious because we saw him on the field 2 days ago, whenever that was, and it didn't look that good. So, but like he gave it his all in the. I think that's what it's going to be. It's going to be one of those things where he literally just tries to give it every single thing that he's got. But then you might see him on the side. I guarantee you, this is one of those games where ESPN's going to have that camera on him, and they're going to show him on the sideline. He's going to be fidgeting with a brace, it's going to be a speculation game for Jeremiah Love. So I hate that for him, but like that's just the position that he's in with this injury.
You also need him. Well, just real quick. You also need him just for the threat. Like, you need Penn State to have to say there is number 4, even if he's not 100%. Like, you still have to account for that. If you're Penn State, you need Penn State to say there's number 4 in the backfield. We have to account attention to him.
Is this Lux guy also a troll? He had a 98-yard touchdown in the College Football Playoff 2 games ago. He set a record. Like, what do you mean he's not lighting it up? He had 6 carries and only 19 yards against Georgia.
Like, get him extra rest, guys. This is the Final Four. It's the Final Four.
Yeah,
you're not resting people.
All right, let's talk about our sponsor for today's show, Prize Picks. And folks, playing Prize Picks all year is the most exciting way to play daily fantasy. I can vouch for it. It's been a lot of fun. Quick withdrawals, easy gameplay, and an enormous selection of player and stat types for what make Prize Picks the #1 daily fantasy sports app. If you have the skills, you can turn $10 into $1,000 with just a few taps. Select 2 or more players, pick more or less on their projected stats, and place your entry. As simple as that. More info you can find over at prizepicks.com. They have weekly promotions as well, like Taco Tuesday, where one of my buddies just texted me a play with Jokic from the Nuggets and his Taco for this week, where he has a discounted projection. So you get discounted projections up to 25% to provide even more value. So download the PrizePicks app or head to prizepicks.com. Make sure you use the promo code BGI to receive a guaranteed $50 once you play $5 in lineups. PrizePicks, daily fantasy sports made easy. Up on the screen for folks watching on YouTube, and please hit the thumbs up on this video. Subscribe to the channel for more content. I was looking at the Notre Dame, little squares here. The two that stood out to me were Leonard, more or less than 27 attempts. And so I think he's going to go less than 27 attempts. But then I'm curious what you guys think about this for Riley Leonard. More or less than 218.5 pass and rushing yards combined. Sorry, Tyler. Go ahead, Tyler.
I would probably go under. I think he averaged.
It's more or less, Tyler.
More or less. Sorry.
More or less.
Less. I would go less.
Tyler. Jack. Sorry.
I'll go out on a limb here and say more, because Abdul Carter seems like he's not going to be full strength, and I think Notre Dame can move the ball on Penn State if that's the case.
Guys, stop the show. Big Killa says the only stat that matters is the W. Stop the show. Stop the presses.
Hey, I wrote about. No, when did I write about that? Was that today? Kind of.
I think that was this morning.
Yeah.
The whatever it takes thing.
Yeah, it's like who cares?
It's on the docket for today.
244 yards. Who cares?
I simply think the biggest key to the game is scoring more points than the other team.
Thank you, Jack. I was like, all right, yeah, guys, great. Yeah, great take here. All right, Tyler, that was actually next up. So you wrote this article, Whatever It Takes, Why Notre Dame Can Win It All Without Prolific Passing Numbers, which I talked about this on a show. I can't remember which one. The days are all running together. But and I hate to throw this guy under the bus on the message board, but he was like, Notre Dame was up 10 points against Georgia or something. And he's like, oh, man, but we can't do this. We can't do that. I'm like, what more do you want? One, did you expect anything else from this Notre Dame? Like, do you think that Riley Leonard was going to toss 4 touchdowns? And Notre Dame hasn't had a single wide receiver go over 100 yards in a game.
That's right.
Not one. Bo Collins had 85 yards against Stanford. 0. Like, one, what do you expect to see any differently? But 2, who the hell cares? You just beat the SEC champs. I don't care if you had 1 passing yard or 800. You won the game. So, Tyler, you wrote this article. I thought it was really good over at blueandgold.com.
Yeah, you mentioned beating Georgia without 100 passing yards. My alma mater tried to do it twice. I think Quinn Ewers had 317 in the SEC championship game. Big fat L. Was that facing the right way? I don't know. But, like, who cares? And I think I cited 4 or 5 different people in that article, including Marcus Freeman with the lead quote. I asked him on Saturday or whenever that was in his press conference. It was a whatever it takes to win type of game. And look, Jack Sobel's from SEC country, kind of. I don't know if Missouri exactly counts.
In the SEC longer than you.
No, I'm not from SEC country. I'm from Big 12 country, and I'm about to prop up SEC country because growing up watching like Alabama LSU or Alabama Florida, like the powerhouses 15 years ago or so. And I get it, college football has changed tremendously, but sometimes you still get these games, especially in bowl games, especially in the college football playoff, where you go into it, and I totally agree with Marcus Freeman when he said, we probably knew we weren't hitting 400 yards. Guess what? They didn't even hit 300, but it didn't matter because they made the big plays. RJ Oben made the big play. Jaden Harrison made the big play. Riley Leonard with his legs in the fourth quarter. Like, those are little things that add up.
If Notre Dame tried to be who they weren't, they would suck. Like, I mean, if Notre Dame was like, all right, we're going to try to be this high-flying passing attack. No, Notre Dame knows who they are.
Yeah.
They know they don't have a high-flying passing attack. It's offense, defense, special teams, coaching, and you grind out these games. That's who they are.
Every once in a while, you'll get a team that just like wipes the floor with everybody. But even if that was Michigan last year, I in that article, I kind of led it with, hey, Penn State, Penn State, they beat Penn State with 60 passing yards last year. They ran the ball 32 straight times. That's not going to happen in the Orange Bowl. But sometimes teams win that way. It doesn't matter. Michigan went 15-0 and won the national championship. If Notre Dame goes, would it be 15-1 if they need to go? Or 15-1 and wins the national championship, and they had a 90-yard passing game. Who cares?
Yeah. Yeah, Jack.
Yeah.
But before you go, real quick, like I've said this a couple times recently as well. Like it might not be a popular opinion to say that Michigan's the blueprint for Notre Dame minus Connor Stallion stuff, but like, um, it worked. Like it works. It works, man. Just be more physical than the other team.
Your defense
Again,
is tough. I saw somebody, give Al Golden another extension. Yeah, part of this reasoning that you don't need to pass for an infinity number of yards is because you have a really good defense to fall back on, and that's what they did in that Georgia game. What was it, 2 of 15 on 3rd and 4th down? That's a ridiculous number. Like you know that you don't have to pile up yards if you're just going to get stops and get the ball back. Like that's complimentary football, right? Marcus Freeman says it all the time.
Jack.
Yeah, this was actually number 5 in my 5 thoughts column after the game. Riley Leonard, and shout out JJ Post, former Observer, current ESPN, for this stat. Riley Leonard total yards against Georgia, 170. Riley Leonard total yards against NIU, 179. Which game do you think Riley Leonard played better in? It's obviously Georgia for a few reasons. Like he ran much better. We knew going into the game that Georgia's biggest weakness defensively was the quarterback run. They took advantage of that, and he took care of the ball. I think there were a lot of times when Riley Leonard, the rush was kind of coming at him faster than he's used to, because Georgia just has better athletes and they were getting to him quicker, and he just kind of threw it in the dirt. Like that's fine. He didn't take sacks. I think he only took 1 sack, if I recall correctly. Didn't turn it over. That's what they need him to do. Now, I actually did ask Mike Denbrock about this earlier today, and he said essentially like, yes, it's what they need to do to win, but they're not mistaking it for satisfaction. They still think there were things in the passing game that can be improved. Denbrock put most of it on him, as Notre Dame's coordinators are known to do. Pretty much anytime we ask them what went wrong about anything, which again is a wonderful quality to have in coaches. But he said that he put them in some behind the stick situations where they were kind of sitting ducks for the Georgia pass rush. And again, we sound like a broken record for how many times we said staying ahead of the sticks is important, but that's how this Notre Dame team is built. When they're in 2nd and 1 situations, 1st and 10, 2nd and 4, 3rd and 1, like they can pass. When they're in 3rd and 19, like I think they were on their first offensive drive when Leonard threw twice on the same play, which you're very much not allowed to do. Then they're screwed. So that's a key again today. Thursday, tomorrow, Thursday. The days don't matter anymore. Yeah. But because it's a key every week.
Agreed.
Folks, hit the thumbs up on this video. Of course, subscribe to the channel if you have not done so yet. I mean, I don't know how there's still Notre Dame fans who haven't. I mean, what the hell are you doing? Subscribe to the YouTube channel. Great operation over here at Blue and Gold. This was not on the docket, but I feel like I want to talk about it.
Oh, boy.
Tyler tweeted this out yesterday. Notre Dame did a lot of quick split outs into quick routes for the tight end in Sunday's practice. Irish might try to feature Eli Raridan in that regard in the Sun Bowl. And here is the video of Raridan just going in motion from a hand in the dirt, tight end spot kind of thing, end line tight end, splitting out and running a slant.
Yep.
And the comments, I'm not going to pull them up, but they were like, take this down. How dare you? And I when I saw this last night, I responded to one of the kids and I was like, how stupid are you? I just have to say, if you're one of the people who saw that tweet and got 137,000 people saw that tweet, if you're one of those people, guys, Notre Dame,
a lot of people,
asked the media, hey, come, we're going to give you 5 periods.
15 minutes of actual practice to shoot, like stretching plus those 15 minutes.
And by the way, they're very strict about this. Like at a certain, they'll tell us to like, hey, if you're in the opposite corner, like start walking back toward the exit, because at a certain point, it's like you cannot see another second after this.
I was standing right by one of the main representatives, and I won't say the name, but like one of the people that we report to when we have questions.
Yeah.
I've never done that. Yeah. Like, no, it didn't matter. And
I've never seen this in my life. The responses.
I've had an Instagram account since like, I'm going somewhere with this. I've had an Instagram account since I want to say I was like 9th grade, maybe I was a freshman in high school. that post, that Twitter X post, caused me to turn my account private for the first time ever.
Yeah, I was going to recommend that.
Why? Because some guy, some troll.
Yeah.
And it had nothing to do with anything. He's like, I never respond to guys on there either, but you responded, and then I think I responded to the same guy, and he's like, oh yeah, you really want to talk crap? And he posts a photo of me and my brother at the College World Series in Texas gear. Newsflash to everybody here who watches this. I went to Texas. I think pretty much everyone knows that. He's like, you really want to talk crap? I'm like, what does this have to do with anything? So I responded, breaking, beat writer didn't graduate from the school that he covered, revoke his credentials, something like that. And then I was like, you know what? I'm going to turn my Instagram account private so he can't get the satisfaction.
So a couple thoughts on this. Number one, the account in question that Tyler is talking about might be bar none the worst account on Notre Dame.
I hope he's watching.
He's got enough credit.
Misinformation and self-absorption. Is that a word?
Self-absorption? Maybe. Yeah.
Maybe. You get the point. Like the sheer the way that account just is all about themselves and the sheer misinformation that comes out of that account. The worst.
All right. We got to move on from that. I don't want to keep praising the person because that's what we do. We keep talking.
The second point is
not done.
The second point, this is not about this account. The second point is like, guys, if Notre Dame is showing it to us, it's not important for the game plan.
Yeah.
They are smarter than that.
Yeah, I mean, if they asked us
also, I'd be
to shoot video and do what Tyler did, what the hell? What's your problem? I was stunned.
I would be very flattered if Penn State coaches are one of those 137,000, and they're thinking that they're going to get one over on Notre Dame by watching Tyler Horka's 6-second practice clip.
Oh my gosh, a tight end splitting out, running a slant, stop presses. So the Bengals reporter for The Athletic.
That's a good point. That Penn State guy, real quick. Yeah. Notre Dame's head coach went to Ohio State. The defensive coordinator went to Penn State. But the beat writer went to Texas, so put him off the beat. Missouri? Get out of here. All right, go ahead.
Go Bulls. USF grad, okay, so the Cincinnati Bengals athletic reporter, I guess minutes, hours, whatever, after the Bengals moved on from their defense coordinator, put, hey, here's candidates. Sometimes those things are framed as, potential candidates. I feel like he said, here's who I'm hearing to keep an eye on, right? Yeah. Al Golden was on that list, which would make a lot of sense. I mean, he worked for Zach Taylor for 2 years in 2020 and 2021. Yeah. And then he's done really well at Notre Dame. He's got a ton of experience professionally in college football. Like, this would make sense. But, I mean, these guys are hashtag locked in. I mean, and as you said in this tweet, I asked Al Golden about the job. He said, it took us 30 years to get to this point here. I'm not worried about anything else, just how to stop Penn State. And you said, Tyler, any contact? Is that exactly, did you just ask him 2 words, any contact?
No, that was my follow-up. I said, can you tell us if the Bengals have contacted you?
To which he responded, I've talked to nobody. I can't even get out the facility. He's so busy.
He kept the follow-up answer short. I omitted some of the because Twitter, even though I have the check now, I don't like going too long on there. I want people to read it quick.
Yeah.
So I omitted some of that first quote. He went on talking about, he was like, they have 2 really good backs. They have a really good tight end. We just talked about their quarterback. Like, that's what I'm worried about. But then the second quote was, dude, I'm not talking to anybody. I'm trying to win a football game. Leave me alone. So,
yeah.
I mean, all right. I guess that's that then. I mean, there's.
Well, no, I mean, there's more to it. It's like, I guarantee you, everyone that's watching this right now is still probably worried that he's going to go, right? Because, like Jack says, it makes sense. He was there for a couple of years, went to the Super Bowl with the Bengals. Would you consider it a promotion? I mean, it depends on the would he make more money? I don't know if it's about the money. Is it about not having to recruit and still being a defensive coordinator?
I mean, it's just personal preference between college and the NFL. I will say that, like, I'm not super plugged in on this, but from what I can glean based on 2 years of talking to Al Golden, the only situation in which he would leave Notre Dame realistically, from my perspective, is an NFL defensive coordinator job. I don't think he would take another college DC job. I don't think he would take or have much interest in a college head coaching job, and I'm not sure he'd get calls for that at this stage of his career. But like Golden said, like obviously nothing is happening on this front until Notre Dame is done. Because like I'm doing a story on Al Golden in a couple of days. Like he's just not that kind of person to leave at this point. So
no one's leaving. Yeah, until after this thing. I mean, we've had no transfer stuff, coaches. I feel like Freeman has really got this group to lock in. I'm sure he's had to sit down conversation with his staff and say, none of you mofos are leaving until after. Like,
and a really good comment by Roger Dodger right there. This really sums up the situation. If you're winning, people want to hire coordinators. This is a good thing for Notre Dame.
Yeah. All right, let's talk about Augie's locker room, because we know you all love Notre Dame memorabilia and one-of-a-kind, unique Notre Dame items. You can find it at one place, and it is Augie's locker room, which as of fall of 2023 has a new location, 1733 North Ironwood Drive, just down the street from Notre Dame campus. So whether you're in town for a game, driving through your local, whatever the case may be, you got to make time for Augie's locker room. Check out their wide selection of Notre Dame Stadium pieces, jerseys, helmets, autographs, and one-of-a-kind Rockney items, as well as exclusive Joe Montana sign items, famous sculptor Jerry McKenna's replicas of the bronze statues outside the stadium, and so much more. And Augie gets new stuff in all the time. If he doesn't have something in store, he can find it for you. So make sure you visit Augie, 1733 North Ironwood Drive in South Bend, and see the vintage helmet display dating back to 1890. It's got some incredible stuff. You're going to want to check it out. We got to get this Sam Hartman 3D figurine for Goolsby so he can put it in his office. I'm sure he would love that. Folks, if you're just watching or just tuning in here, you haven't done so yet, please hit the thumbs up on this video, subscribe to the channel for more content. If you're wondering where Tim is, his girls were sick, so Tim is being a good dad and husband and taking care of his family. Tim will be live with us Thursday night after the game. Do you guys want to say something? Tyler, you look like you want to say something?
No, I was just laughing at a comment.
No,
you could probably,
we're not gonna bring that up. Yeah.
George Taylor, we're gonna
No.
There you go.
Well, actually, that was next to talk about. So,
not a can of worms we're gonna open on this show.
All right, so you guys got to talk to Denbrock, Al Golden, and then players, and you've got to interview 100 times.
Kaiser.
That was your first time interviewing Kaiser, right?
Yeah. There was a reporter at I talked to I was like in line to talk to Kaiser at a media day for the Sugar Bowl, and one of our colleagues, Tom Noy with the South Bend Trib, one of his questions for Kaiser, he was going before me, and one of his questions for Kaiser was like, so is there anything we haven't asked you about in 6 years here? And Kaiser's like, nope, you guys have pretty much covered everything.
Anything interesting from today, Tyler?
I stood around Golden trying to get that question, and he got a lot of Penn State stuff, Miami stuff. Really weird confluence there. He's playing coaching against his alma mater at the stadium that he used to be a head coach at. I don't know how many people can say that they've done something like that, but of course, in typical Al Golden fashion, he downplayed the heck out of all that and said, kind of what he told me in response to the Bengals thing was, hey, man, I'm trying to win a national championship. We're 2 games away from that. I've never been 2 games away from that. Let's get that done. You can say more about Mike Denbrock, but I was standing next to Riley Leonard as well for most of my time, and that dude is the most relaxed QB1 at this stage of a season that you could ever find. I saw some people in the chat earlier saying, imagine if we had Riley Leonard for a second year at Notre Dame, which would be a 5th year in his college career because of that whole thing that might be coming down. I don't know anything about it. Like I said at the very beginning of all this, I'm trying to cover Notre Dame. I'm trying to cover the Orange Bowl. But I do think it's funny how the narrative on him has just completely shifted. Like if we make some jokes that like we put out some social media posts that kind of get the people going. It's called farming these days. I don't think we're farmers, but you can put out a picture of Riley Leonard and a quote that he literally said, and it's all factual information. It's literally verbatim, and people are like, we'll eat it up, right? He was talking about his faith. He was talking about loving to play for Notre Dame. He was talking about just being in this position. He could have never imagined it in his career because Duke's not getting to this point in a college football season ever. Okay. Now he's at Notre Dame and he's 13-1 as a starter at Notre Dame, and he's 2 games away from the ultimate goal. I just think it's funny how, because of all that is true, people love this guy. Like if I tweeted posted anything about Riley Leonard in mid-September, even early October, everyone was like, oh my gosh, Steve Angeli, like this, that, get him out. And now anything you post about Riley Leonard, there are still the vocal minority, I would say. But I think most of this fan base has come around to the point that we have people on this chat saying, oh my gosh, imagine a 5th year of Riley Leonard. Like maybe we can be in this spot again next year. I think that's a genuine feeling from this fan base. And it's pretty cool to like see that happen in the span of 2 or 3 months.
Yep. First of all, I'd like to read a prepared statement. No one at blueandgold.com engages in engagement farming. That is a false accusation.
Here's the thing about engagement farming. It's a completely subjective term anyway. All we're doing is posting. We're taking information that we get and posting it. And you know what? If it goes viral like Eli Raridan, so be it. That wasn't a farm. That was
I engagement farm most after games. After a win, I don't know, man. After some big Notre Dame wins, man, I'm just feeling myself. Maybe I've had a whiskey after a show with him. and I'm just tweeting out like, let me pull one up. I'm just like,
oh my
Notre Dame fans, how we feeling? You know, like we all do it. It's all in good fun.
Anyway, what were we talking about? Media day?
Yeah, I said you talked about.
Wait. There's something else on the engagement farm.
Got a harvest that we need to share here.
A what?
A harvest, your crops. Engagement farming, crops, harvest. You're gonna show us.
All right. Well, this was I put. Covering this team is so much fun, having the time of my life. Thank you all for following along.
Yeah. Get it off our chest.
Farming. I mean, I'm farming. Goolsby, you down to do a show tonight? Farming. I'm all over it, dude. But the thing that
they can scroll your own Twitter account at their own time.
Don't you dare call it X. But what pisses me off is people saying like clickbait when it's just like, I want you to read my article. That's not clickbait. To me, clickbait is I am baiting you to click on a link that has nothing to do. Like if I say, click here to get the answer to Jeremiah Love's status, and it does not answer that at all, that is clickbaiting.
People call stuff that doesn't even have a link clickbait. It's like, you're not even, I guess you're clicking on the tweet, but like that wasn't, no.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The problem is like, oh man, they just want clicks. Like, what do you think? Like, you click on my tweet. What do you think I get from that? Anyways, yeah. Let's move on. Anything else from interviews tonight that was interesting?
I mean, there was a lot of Penn State talk, like for the defensive guys, Tyler Warren, for the offensive guys, Abdul Carter. I asked Denbrock about Carter. He made it a point to make clear that, like, hey, this guy's an amazing run defender too. We got to be careful with him. That's what Denbrock said. Not a ton that's like pertinent info. The most pertinent info is probably the Golden Bengals thing. Like, it's a lot of national reporters who most of whom do a fantastic job, but they're asking the guys about stuff that we've asked them about a lot.
I will make one more quote on media day, if that's what we're doing content today. It was nothing like the Sugar Bowl. Hopefully Notre Dame makes it to the national championship because we will have another actual media day.
Yeah.
And we'll probably get a lot of off-season content from that if we play our cards right. Anyway, today we're both working on some features and we got some stuff for that.
That was most of our
go to blueandgold.com in the next 48 hours leading up to the game because we'll have some good quotes from what we got today for a couple stories.
Okay, want to wrap up with something that Jack tweeted, and I just closed it on accident. You want to? No, I linked it. Give me a second, boys. But you had tweeted about Bo Collins was.
Yeah, this was earlier this week. I will say there's much more.
Is this a farm?
No, this is no farm.
Exactly my point from earlier.
He's denying all engagement farming allegations.
It's not farming. It's presenting some news. This is
yeah.
So, all right. So for folks listening to the podcast, they don't see the screen. Tell us about this, Jack.
So Bo Collins was talking about Like he was being asked about like surviving the grind of the season, which I wrote about on the website. And he said like he had an IV in at halftime. This was an incredible story.
Yeah.
He had an IV in at halftime, and Marty Biaggi comes up to him and he's like, "Can you go in?" Because Collins is the frontline guy in the kickoff return. And Collins was like, "Buddy, I got a needle in my arm." He didn't say buddy. That's not how he talks to his coach. But he said, "Coach, I got a needle in my arm."
Bo Collins out of context.
And so Biaggi sends in Leo Scheidler, who, if you guys remember, Eddie Scheidler is a pretty popular walk-on. That's his brother. He's a junior now. I believe Eddie moved on, graduated last year.
Ironic. I ran into their dad in the elevator the day of the game. 9-second encounter.
Huh.
Little did I know
Yeah.
this was going to happen for the family.
Yeah, so Leo goes in and he makes an incredible block on Jaden Harrison's kickoff return for a touchdown. I don't think you can really see it on the TV broadcast. I watched the play a few times.
So it was like an alternate angle.
Yeah.
That I saw a video.
It's an alternate angle, but like what Collins described, like he stalemates the dude and drives him back like 10 yards, and that was a big block on the return. So it's like that is such a good encapsulation of who this team has been. Just got anyone stepping up. Like the punt returner is a walk-on Colgate transfer. The third string Viper is getting a sack in the playoff game against Georgia. Yeah, let's see if you can see
He's
him
going to be
here.
on the near side to us, like right there, right?
What number?
82.
I saw an angle from the
So you think this is him right here? This gold helmet might be it.
Yeah, you can't really see it from this angle.
Yeah, there was a camera from the other
Yeah.
side that I saw, and you could like actually see him take him out.
Yeah.
But
Either way, you can trust Bo Collins on this that he made that block.
Nice.
But again, it's like that's who this team has been. It's just guys stepping up at the right time.
and that's why I guess I mean I don't want to say that I'm just now catching on to it. Kind of am though, because coming out, everyone knew that game was like you win that game, then everything's open for you.
Yeah.
But it was more than that for me. It was holy cow, you can pick and piece these like special moments that these guys are having. Like I tweeted one of
Clip Farm.
it was a clip farm. It was Mitchell Evans was interacting with some fans, looked like some students, maybe some friends, family. I'm not sure.
Yeah, the
And
Leonard came up.
was walking from behind, and the fans see that, and he's the quarterback, and he's holding the MVP trophy. So they start going, Riley Leonard, clap, 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 Riley Leonard. And Riley Leonard's like, no, Mitchell Evans, and like turns it around on him. And like these small things that are happening right here. Everyone sees Riley coming over. You can see their faces. They're like, oh, here comes the quarterback. Mitch turns to him. And then Riley starts chanting Mitchell Evans. Like I don't think you see that kind of stuff everywhere. These guys like really love each other. I'm writing a feature on somebody. I'm not going to give the full teaser. Maybe you can guess who it is. But like I asked Riley Leonard about that guy, and he wouldn't really know much about that guy, a quarterback. But he gave me this like awesome answer on him today. So I don't know. Yeah. I think this team like has those kinds of special vibes. I really do.
Every team talks about togetherness, but like this team really has it. Yeah. Like I think there are a lot of guys who, if they didn't have it, like you talk to Junior Tui Halamaka, Pat Coogan, about like why you stuck it out after you were backups in week one, you lost competitions, and like they're like, yeah, the togetherness of this locker room. And I think that's real. I think that's really real.
And those are things that go beyond like the blue chip ratio, like talent and just looking at things from a black and white perspective. Like the best players are going to produce. Like, I mean, dude,
I know TCU got like killed by Georgia, but that year running through the Big 12, and I think they lost the Big 12 championship game, but still, like TCU.
Yeah.
I mean, Gary Patterson had them in that position a couple of times because he was a great head coach, but that TCU team, you could just watch it, feel it. They loved Max Duggan, all of these others. They loved their coach. Like, that's the same thing that you're feeling with Notre Dame.
Here's a comment, Tech Panther, the moment that I noticed live and on the replay.
Yep.
Like that, I think that those kind of moments are the little.
Mike and I talked about that photo.
That
is an awesome photo with Open holding up the ball.
Yeah, and you see Tui Halamaka pick up the ball, and he turns right. Where's RJ? And I think that was an important moment.
All right, boys. I will see you guys in a couple days. Looking forward to getting down to Fort Lauderdale for the Orange Bowl. We'll have everyone there. Me, Jack, Tyler, Kyle. It's gonna be a good time. So I'll be doing the post-game show from the press box. See how that goes. Usually, when you do I've only done one post-game show from a press box, but like everyone clears out and goes to the interviews and the press conferences. So it's usually quiet up there. We'll see how it goes.
These take longer because there's a whole trophy celebration and stuff. Like we were on the field forever for that Sugar Bowl.
Yeah, you will have plenty of time.
So you'll have time up there by yourself probably.
Yeah, you think everyone will clear out for that?
Depends on
it's like 5 minutes, right?
Yeah. But
5 minutes left in the game, you can go down on the field, right? Something like that. It's usually.
I think so. We got a pretty limited press pass this time. It says no field access. I don't even know if we're going on the field at all.
Like before the game?
Yeah, no field before for this red pass here. We got the you can see on the back there's tiers. We're on the bottom tier.
I have tier right now.
Huh?
I want to shoot some B-roll before the game.
From the press box, maybe? Zoom in.
Hey, dude, you don't gotta tell me twice. I will do it. So interesting. All right, folks, hit the thumbs up if you have not done so yet. Great stuff from Tyler and Jack tonight. If you're just tuning in here in the past 5-10 minutes or so, rewind, watch from the beginning. A lot of good stuff from the guys. Head over to blueandgold.com. We will have more content on our website. $1 for 7 days is our offer that you can take advantage of. Let's see if I can find a graphic real quick. Nope, I can't. Yes, I can. Boom, boom, boom. There it is. $1 for 7 days, our Orange Bowl special. And then we will have more YouTube content tomorrow. Tyler and I will have a preview video up, and Tim and I will be live after the game. Really appreciate everyone for watching this week's Notre Dame football show. Appreciate you, and we'll catch you next time.